Okay, first of all, I want to show you how to subtract mixed numbers. Okay? Let's say we had this number. Let's say we had to subtract 10 and 5, 6 minus 8 and 1/3. Okay? You know how to do the subtraction. Start on this side. Let's do the subtraction. We got 5, 6 minus 1/3. We have to, what's the first thing that we got to do? Xander. Common denominator. We got to find a common denominator. So this is going to become 10 and what? What's my denominator going to be? 6. So 10 and this is going to be 5, 6. This is going to be 8 and we need a 6 here. So that means we got to multiply top and bottom by what? 2. So times 2 here, times 2 here, we end up with 2, 6. And we're going to do our subtraction. 5, 6 minus 2, 6 is 3, 6. 3, 6. And 10 minus 8 is 2. And then we need to reduce, divide this by 2, divide this by 2, and we end up with 2 and 1. I'm sorry, divide this by 3, I should say. 2.5. Okay? That's a lot of work for one thing, isn't it? But I know it's work that you guys can do. It's easy. Okay? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to have to end up regrouping. Like if you were doing this kind of subtraction, let's say you were doing 121 minus 93, you would have to regroup, wouldn't you, Gavin? Okay? You would have to regroup. You can't take 1 from 3, so you have to basically borrow from here and make this a 1, and then make this, put the 10 there, make that an 11, and then you end up getting 4 here. And then again, you're going to have to borrow. You're going to have to regroup and make that a 0, and then add a 1 there, and make this a 2. Okay? So you get 24. You see how you borrow for that? Did I screw something up? Yeah, 11 minus 3 is not 4. I meant 9.
No, it's 8.
8. That's funny. Okay. So, but basically my point is that you're borrowing. All right? You're borrowing. You're regrouping. Now, with fractions, there's going to be times that we're going to have to regroup. We got Jimmy and his family. They planted a tree when it was 1 3/4 foot tall. Now the tree is 2 1/4 feet tall. How much has the tree grown since it was planted? So you got 2 1/4 minus 1 3/4. Uh-oh. We've got to take 1 minus 3. We can't do that. Just put your hands down for a second. We can't do that. So this is the key, Jack, okay? I need all of you to really pay attention to this because this sometimes is difficult for 6th graders. I need to borrow from this too, or I need to regroup this too. So I need to take this 2 and make it a 1 4/4. Is that the same as 2? We got 1 here. What is 4/4 worth? 1. Okay? And obviously 1 plus 1 is 2. So I'm basically taking this 2 and I'm ripping it apart. I'm pulling a 1 out of it. Okay? So I'm making it 1 less, but I'm regrouping it. I'm changing it from a 2 to a 1 4/4. Now the other part of this is this is 2 1/4. This means 2 plus 1/4. So this all together right here is 2 plus the 1/4. Okay, that's what this whole thing is. What is 1 4/4 plus 1/4? What is that? So this whole thing becomes a 1 5/4. So all I did was regroup this whole thing. Kennedy, put your hand down. All I did was regroup, make this 2 1/4 into a 1 5/4. Does that make sense to you? You see how we did that? We pulled that tool apart, used our muscles, and we ripped it apart. All right? So now, by regrouping this, I have 1 5/4. I don't know where that little line came from. Minus 1 3/4. Can we answer that question now? We can do that subtraction pretty easily, can't we? 5 minus 3 is 2. Keep that. 1 minus 1 is 0. So it's 2/4, which is 1/2. So we answer the question. How tall has the tree grown since it was planted? It has grown 1/2 of a foot. All right? We're going to work together. I know some of you, I see some of you going, looking at me a little confused. We're going to practice this a few times. Yes, sir. Yes, but essentially I'm just showing you how it works. Yes, yes. All right. So first of all, why don't you guys go get a whiteboard? One person from each table group get one. I just want to show you this. This is from the last problem that we did. Please keep your caps on your markers for now. This on the top here, okay, 2 1/4. You see how this is two holes and 1/4? We basically just regrouped this to become, it's still the same amount, right? 1 5/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still the same amount. We just changed the way that we look at it. You see that? Now we're going to do the subtraction just like we did over there. 5 minus 3 is 2, 2/4. Okay? That should help some of you visualize it a little bit. Now, on your whiteboards, I want you to write this up and down. So we got 7 1/6 minus 2 5/6. Now I want you to go with me step by step as you write this. Please do not work ahead. I want you to see how this is done. Okay? So we got 7 1/6. First of all, we have to look at the fraction, see if we have what? What's that? What's our first job? We're subtracting fractions. Our first job is to look for what? Xander? Common denominator. Do we have one? Yes, so we're good there. The next thing we got to do is, because we are subtracting, we got to see 1 minus 5. Can we take 5 away from 1? No. So we know that we have to regroup. So we're going to take this 7, and we are going to make this 7 a 6 and what? It's going to end up being 7/6. How do we get 7/6? Why is it 7? Hunter. Okay, you might be saying the same thing as I am, but Here's what, I'll explain it the way that will help me. We took this 7 and we made the 7, we converted 7 to a 6, and you don't have to write this part down. 6 and 6, 6. Okay? This is the same as 7. 6 plus 6, 6 is 7, because 6, 6 is 1. And then we had to add, we can't forget about the 1/6. So we come up with a 6 and 7, 6. Okay? Does that, those of you that were confused, do you see how that worked? We took the 7, we ripped it apart into a 6 and 6, 6, and we did not forget about this 1/6 right here. Okay? And the 7 is this. Now we can just do our subtraction. Minus 2 and 5, 6. Okay? 7 minus 5 is 2. 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. We need to reduce. Divide this by 2. Divide this by 2. We end up with 4 and 1/3. Now, what I am circling right here is what I need to see on your homework. You need to do all of that. The whole thing. Okay? You need to write the original problem. Yeah. No. I want it written like I have up here. That's what I want for now. I want you to write down the original problem. I want you then to rewrite the problem, showing me the regrouping, and then do the subtraction, and then reducing. I know it's a lot, but that's what I'm looking for at this time. Okay? Why don't you try one on your own and see what we come up with. Okay, just another quick one here. We got 8 and 2/5. We have to get a common denominator. So we got to multiply this times 2 here to end up with an 8 and 4/10 minus 6 and 7/10. Now we can't do the subtraction, so we got to take this 8 apart, and we got to make it a 7 and 10/10 plus the 4/10 to make it a 14/10 minus 6 and 7/10. And we end up doing that subtraction and get 7/10 here and a 1 there. There's your answer. All right, let's try the next one. Why can I choose 10/10 or 3/3 or 140 over 140? Why do I get to pick? They all equal 1. As long as the top number and the bottom number, the numerator and the denominator are the same, they all equal 1. So if I wanted to, I could change this 6 to a 6 and 7/7 minus, or I'm sorry, 5 and 7/7 minus 3 and 2/3. But why would I do that? That wouldn't make any sense. I'm just making it harder on myself because now I gotta go try to find a common denominator, and that would mean that I'd have to get a 21 on the bottom. That's a waste of time. So what I would do is I would always make sure I choose the denominator that gives me a common denominator right away. Then do your subtraction. You got 1/3 here, 2 1/3. Okay, next one. This one's got all the fun stuff. All the fun stuff with this one. First of all, let's get a common denominator. 5 over something over 12 to 2 and something over 12. Multiply by 4 here, by 4 here, so we get a 4. Multiply by 3 here, by 3 here, you get a 9. Now we got a regrouping problem. 5 and 4 twelfths minus 2 and 9 twelfths. Convert that 5, rip it apart, make it a 4 and 12 twelfths plus the 4 twelfths, make it a 16 twelfths minus 2 and 9 twelfths. 16 minus 9 is 7 twelfths. 4 minus 2 is 2. Lee, she's making a quilt. She needs 15 yards of fabric. She has 2 3/4 yards of fabric. How many more yards does she need? Solve it. $15 minus 2 3/4. That 2 shouldn't be there. It should be here. Change this 15 to a 14 4/4 minus 2 3/4. 1/4. 12 yards. Beautiful. Homework. Page 246. Six to 22 even.